Okay, so today's lesson, in this video, we're going to talk about the division models. So again, a model is just a way of thinking about how we can do division, and there's two different ways we can think about it. We can think about it as repeated subtraction, which should kind of make sense since multiplication we can think about as repeated addition. You can also think about division as partitioning. So let's start off with the repeated subtraction. And within the repeated subtraction, we can think about it with two different ways, a set model or a line model. So let's start off with the set model. So for the set model, our thought process is, let's start off with the problem. Let's begin with the problem, 8 divided by 2. So for the set model, the thought process is, I'm going to start with 8 things in a set. So start with 8. And then subtract 2. So we're going to subtract 2 until you get to 0. So the picture of this with the set is I have a set of 8 things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to start off with 8 things. I'm going to take away 2 of them. 1, 2. And now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things. We're not at 0 yet, so let's do it again. Now I have 6 things. If I take away 2, I'm left with 4 things. Now I have 4 things. Take away 2 again. 1, 2. I'm left with 2 things. Now I have 2 things. If I take away 2 again, I'm down to 0 things. So your answer is actually how many times you have to subtract 2 to until you get to 0. So your answer is how many times did we subtract? And we subtracted 1, 2, 3, 4. So time number 1, 2, 3, 4. So your answer is 4. 8 divided by 2 equals 4. Okay, more than likely, this is probably not the way you think about division. I mean, it's not the way I think about division, and usually students in class, this is not the way that they think about division. But this is something a student can relate to because they're really good at addition and subtraction when they learn multiplication and division. So it's relating it back to something that they know. Also, since multiplication is repeated addition, it makes sense that division is repeated subtraction. So let's do the same problem with a line model this time. So with the line model, I'm still going to do 8 divided by 2. So on a line, I'm going to start off with 8, and I'm going to subtract 2 until I get to 0. Okay, so I'm going to draw a number line. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I start at 8. When I subtract 2 the first time, I get to 6. Do it again. This time I get to 4. Do it again. This time I get to 2. Do it again. This time I get to 0. So the number of times that I subtracted 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So 8 divided by 2 equals 4. Okay, so that's the line model. The line model showing repeated subtraction. So now let's talk about the other way to model division, and it's partitioning. More than likely, this is how you think of division. So partitioning is just putting things into groups. So for the problem 8 divided by 2, your thought process here is divide 8 things into 2 groups. So if I have 8 things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I'm putting them into 1, 2 groups. So now one in each group. So I'm going to put this one in this group, 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 this one in this group. So I divided my 8 things into 2 different groups. Your answer is how many are in each group. So in this situation, there are 4 in each group. So 8 divided by 2 equals 4. Okay. So more than likely, this is probably how you think about division, is partitioning. I have 8 things, I put them into 2 groups. Or like I have 8 pieces of gum, I'm sharing it among 2 friends. How many pieces of gum does each friend get? So one thing to be careful about with partitioning is lots of times we start doing this in our head and we think 8 divided by 2 is 4. And so we think, okay, 8 things into 4 groups, there are 2 in each group. That's not necessarily wrong, like this is still a true statement, but that's not the model for 8 divided by 2. Like pretend like you don't know the answer here. You have to show 8 things going into 2 groups and then you get the answer of 4 when you work it out. Okay, so that's the models. Our next video will go over the strategies for division.